Yeah, FABA for advisors by advisors. Hosted by Evan J. Mayer, where the real ones talk business, no filters, no favors. How they structure, they practice, how they build their team. Independent route or employee machine. Talk platforms, payouts, culture and growth. What really works when you out there on the road? No can lines, just advisors being straight. Real conversations from the people who relate. Double podcast for advisors by advisors.
This is For Advisors by Advisors. I'm your host, Evan J. Mayer, and today we have two very special guests that are actually part of the Fortuna Wealth family recently, joined April 1st, Mr. Brent Detweiler and Richard Knight.
Thanks for having us, Evan.
Awesome to see you guys. How are you?
Good. We're good. Excellent.
So, little backstory on Richard and Brent. They both met at Truist. Brent at one time was a banker, joined Richard and Phil's team back in, I believe it was 2019, joined the team.
That's correct, yeah.
But both joined the firm about 10 years ago. And then on April 1st of this year, so just about a little shy of it's been
4 months almost.
Yeah, almost 4 months. Joined Raymond James on the Independent channel. Both were top producers. Richard specifically got into Forbes Next Gen magazine in 2024 and 2025. Brent will be on his way to getting there as well as part of the team. And big group of five just started in Melbourne. So tell us a little bit about how you guys got started in the business, kind of where that the book has evolved and the practice has evolved prior to you joining Raymond James.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. All right. So, I started 2016. There was an advisor training program that had kind of rolled out, and a little lost in life. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I figured, why not? Let me take a shot at this. Business was far from what I expected, and I was kind of lost for how to go about running the business. I think I was a lot of transactional business, as you kind of would expect in the bank channel. And I was at one of the annual compliance meetings, and that's actually when I met you, Evan. And you were gracious enough to spend a whole half day, I think, with me. And that was really what pushed me into the advisory. I was working towards the CFP at that time, which you were really encouraging on. And the rest was history. I think at the time I probably only had 15 million under advisory at the time, and now it's over 100. So.
Excellent. And you joined Phil Margie, who's a veteran in the business. You guys kind of formed a team at that point, correct?
Correct, yeah. Phil had been around, I think at that point, it's like 27 years, almost 30 years when we joined. So.
And then when did Brent come a knocking, or when did you come a knocking to Brent?
Yeah, I'd say he came knocking at 19.
Yep. 19. Yeah, and Brent, you were like, want to join this team, and they're like, we want you to join this team, or who kind of went after who?
Yeah, so funny story. I went into their office probably about 2 weeks prior to that, and just said, hey, I got this opportunity. Funny enough, with a Raymond James, an independent guy, was looking to get hired on as a junior. An opportunity arose at our prior firm, and they came out to the desk, said, hey, let's talk for 5-10 minutes, and then manager basically said, you're hired, and you need to find a replacement for Brent. So one of the best short conversations I've ever had in my life. Very life-changing.
Absolutely. When did was there points for you, Brent, in the process of joining Richard and Phil, where you were like, did I make the right move? I'm leaving the salary behind. Was there any of those thoughts that went through your head?
The testing, when I couldn't pass the test, I was probably about a week out from the 6-month window they allotted you to get all fully licensed. So
was that the Series 7?
So the 7, 66, and then the 215. So 7 kicked my butt. 66, got it down in 2 times, and then I had a week left for the 215 and knocked it out in a couple days.
Yeah, 215 is pretty easy. And then you recently, congratulations, just passed your CFP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
Thank you.
So, look, you guys were in the bank channel for, almost 10 years, and then April 1st, you guys decided to go independent. Talk about where that process started. When did you guys first start thinking about leaving SunTrust, and what was that evolution to making that decision?
I'll let Brent go because he was the one that was really pushing for it hard.
Yeah, I would say I was the aggressive guy. So even being new in the industry, right, just starting in 2019, my book was definitely not mature enough. But by way of Richard, kind of introducing, I met you once at a conference, and basically the instillment you did for Richard passed it down to me. So, when we started thinking about going independent, there was a clear choice of, hey, let's go talk with Evan and see where we need to go. We just got frustrated with our prior firm and just processes and things of that nature. And we're looking to help our clients do what we wanted to do and service them better. And that's what kind of led open the door to coming here.
Excellent. And when was that? When I know you guys came to see me. That's pretty much when that started. When was that? Was that like September of last year?
Yeah, so we started probably looking about 6 to 8 months prior to that, just because we were getting fed up with everything that was going on. And then once we did do that meeting with you, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but I was like, all right, where do we sign? Let's get this going today. Like, I was no need to go any further. Let's just make this happen.
Yeah. And we'd had quite a few people that had been talking to us about doing the independent for a while. I know you had reached out to me, Evan, probably 2020, 21, had a loose conversation where things were with Phil and what did succession look like. We didn't have a lot of answers, and Brent was really new. But even one of Brent's friends, Marcus, we'd had a call with him probably even a year prior. So the goal was always we were looking at independence. It was just when and what did that look like?
Why independence specifically? What drove you to say we don't even want to look at another bank or another wirehouse?
I think we just had strong convictions about the way that the industry and our profession should operate, and just too many conflicts with the big, when you're an employee, you lose a certain amount of control and the way people want you to do business. And both of us pursuing the CFP designation, taking that fiduciary responsibility very strong, plus our faith background, we just felt like there were a lot of conflicts, and we wanted to operate the way that we felt it should on a very high moral and ethical background.
Yeah, I mean, bank's a bank, right? Like, no matter A or B, I mean, they both kind of operate one and the same. So
I remember a conversation I had with somebody, and I remember the striking point that made me say, I got to go. And it wasn't, the bank was was merging at the time, but this conversation had to do with things that I thought were going on the banker side that I didn't feel was in the best interest of clients. And when I brought it up to a senior manager, I remember using this line. I don't think he remembers it the same way, but I remember me going like, I don't want my clients to be affected. And he goes, your clients? They're the bank's clients. And that was the thing that just broke me. And I go, oh yeah? Okay. We're going. Was there a moment for either one of you where like you were like, yep, we're out? Like that's the last straw.
I think for us, it was around support personnel, and we were growing rapidly. And as some of the processes changed, we were hitting a lot of roadblocks. And I'd made the effort to really dive in and do a business plan, laid out like, hey, this is how many accounts we're opening, this is how long it's taking, and this is where we're bottlenecking. And we basically got told, hey, you're not at the production level yet. And then Brent had made the phone call. He said, well, we're getting recruited, and people are telling us we could easily have two support personnel. And then the next day, they gave us one after initially telling us no. And it's because that was out there. And I think that's when you realized it was more of a strategy to save you versus actually help you grow your business.
Yeah. Let's fix the problem once we know there's a problem instead of fixing it ahead of time. So let's talk a little bit about your team. So you ended up, you left your assistant, your sales support assistant didn't come with you. You had two bankers that joined after, they had resigned. It wasn't necessarily a systematic approach, but they ended up joining at some point your office. Very cool concept, by the way, because I believe they had relationships with the clients, and that was a pretty cool way of doing it. Can you kind of go through your team and how you built that?
Yeah. so after we'd met with you, I think the biggest concern I'd had was how we would have broken it to both of them that we were leaving, because we were so intertwined, and we knew we were going to probably run into some issues. And we were very fortunate. One told us she was planning to retire, and right after that, the other one said she was going to leave too. And so I told you from the very get-go, I was looking October 26. And that's really what pushed us faster. Everything really fell in line from that point forward. So I don't know if Brent has more input on that. But.
Yeah. I mean, between that, the girls leaving, right, kind of leaving us there, and then our prior firm kind of helped us expedite it too with the increase of fees that they were looking at doing. Another thing that really said, hey, we aren't comfortable with this. There's no value to the client. It was just a quick revenue grab. At the end of the day, they're there for themselves, and that was our other, like, all right, we got to go.
Yeah, no, and they're just amazing, talented people that actually work very well with you guys.
Yeah.
So very, very, very cool. And you guys obviously created your own office space there in Melbourne, kind of creating what you did. One of the things, though, that I think is a great thing is that when you find an OSJ and a partnership that makes sense to potentially go underneath, it can actually help build your business and take care of a lot of the things, offline that you normally would have to do. So one of those, I remember, Brent, I think me and you were talking a couple days ago, and you said, well, why reinvent the wheel, I think was the line you used.
Yeah.
Regarding joining OSJ. Did you have any thoughts at all of creating your own outside and kind of going through and getting relicensed and doing your own OSJ, or did it just automatically make sense to kind of join Fortuna Wealth and the team that's in process?
Yeah, I think it just made sense to join an established, well-known, Fortuna Wealth. So that just made it an easy conviction. Richard and I talked about, we kicked it back around, like creating our own business and doing the logo and the website. And we're just like, listen, this just seems like too much. We already got a lot on our plate, right? To make this move. So why add to it? We trust you wholeheartedly. Going back to Richard's comment of, being in our faith, praying on it. And after our meeting, there was a lot more positivities and signs to say, yeah, this is the right way to go, and conviction to go that way. So that's what we ended up doing.
Yeah, we just had to lean on what our strengths were. We knew where our strengths laid, and I think starting from the ground up wasn't anything either one of us felt like was in our wheelhouse. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about the 2 or 3 months leading up to D-Day. Now, I had a very stressful event. I kind of left on my own. You had myself, you had Annie, you had kind of our whole team here to help support you in that move, along with you were moving with a team of 5, so it probably made life a lot easier as far as making that move goes. Talk about like the day you made the decision, yep, we're signing, and then what transpired over that next 90 days to get you ready for the day you were going to resign.
Oof. Man.
That was all a blur.
Yeah.
We don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think anything in particular that we got ready for per se, right? I think we were at peace and a little maybe too overconfident in the sense of like, hey, we got this, and you don't know what to expect. We've never been through anything like that. So it was quite the eye-opening event when D-Day did happen, and you start making those calls, and it's like you didn't know what to expect. And so it was a challenge.
Yeah, and leading up to it, Brent was the confident one. I mean, Evan, you were there for all of our conversations, so I was the one that was definitely more anxiety-ridden prior to the move. I think I settled in probably faster than the other two. But yeah, it's just, figuring out how are we going to deliver it? How do we structure it? How do we explain to clients what was the value? And I think the most nerve-wracking part for any advisor when you're making this change is we have a comfortable living and we're really rocking the boat, right? And I'd been in here long enough where I think the term you've used, Evan, is institutionalized. I was probably skirting that line a little bit. And
for sure.
So I think I was well aware of what could have transpired, but thankfully everything played out the way it was supposed to. So
it always does. And truthfully, there's, a 5 or 10 steps that you have to hit to make the move, find a location, order furniture, get the phone set up, but once you get that initial, and it's a full-time job on top of servicing clients, for that 2 or 3 months. So it is not an easy process. You might have forgotten a lot of it, but, every day you guys were tackling a new job of like, we got to get this done. We got to get this done. We got to get this done.
Oh, no, we don't forget. We were remodeling, servicing clients, and getting the CFP done. So I don't forget that.
Yeah, I think it was also interesting, Brent. You were studying for your CFP. I think you passed the test
the week prior
before move.
Yeah.
So which I don't know anybody in the history of the business that's ever done that. By the way, that's literally gotten their CFP knowing they were going to leave where they were going to leave a week prior.
That was a celebration, though. You got the CFP, and then you got the independence. So it was a gift to myself,
Absolutely, yeah. Amazing how that worked out. Let's talk about D-Day. D-Days are always scary. I was part of your D-Day, so I got to be there for it. I stayed in Melbourne with you guys and got to see kind of the process of what you did. You went in, did your regular, resignation, made your call. They tried to keep you a little bit, tell you what you're making a mistake and you should probably stay, and all of that. What was that first hour? Because I think it took an hour or so before your licenses moved over, maybe a little bit longer than mine.
It was almost like 2 hours, yeah.
It was like 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
So for that first 2 hours, you knew you resigned. What were you starting the fear already at that point? Was the anxiety starting to creep?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's when the reality hits, right? Like, hey, I just left a nice job, right? Benefits, pay, and here we are out in the open. Can't do anything, right? Those first 2 hours felt like they took forever, and other people are calling your clients, and you're just like, man, I just got to get on the phone. I got to get on the phone.
And how fast did your book get spread out where people started to make calls? Do you know? Was it that same day?
Yeah, I think they attacked us pretty quick. So it was the same day, if not that morning after. I mean, I think there was a handful of Richards. I mean, they got called literally minutes after we resigned. So they didn't wait no time for us.
It's interesting too, because there was another team that just left SunTrust about a month ago. Yeah, I keep saying SunTrust, they're Truist, whatever, but left a month ago, and I know they didn't even hand out the book yet, and it was like 2 or 3 days, so they were on you guys pretty quick.
Yeah.
Now I remember, because I got the phone call to that it's go time for you guys, and I think only Phil had to wait a little bit longer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
When I told you guys it was go time, were you like, all right, I'm ready, and you just started hitting the phones?
Yeah. I mean, we were ready, after pacing back and forth in the office there for a little bit. Once we knew it was getting closer to time, it was just smile and dial. Let's get this going.
Yeah, it was, that first, it starts out pretty emotional. We had a good relationship with our manager. I mean, it really did. It was kind of emotional turning in the resignation. So I think I was sitting in that for a while. And then, of course, everyone's wanting to talk to you, make sure your computer works, your email works, everything's live, the website's going, all of that. And then I got kind of the worst case scenario where the first dial was a no. And then the first 10 people I'm calling have already been reached out to and meetings were set. So they wanted to see that. So I had a pretty rough first day.
I remember that, by the way. And you guys were all, I had said offline, and I don't know if I ever said it to you guys, but I had said to John, I go, they're a little overconfident. They haven't gotten hit yet. They're going to get hit at some point. Mm-hmm. You got hit on your first phone call.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty painful. How did you feel right after that first phone call? Were you like, oh my God, I got to get some yeses going?
It was, I think the part that was hardest for me was because the top part of my book was being reached out to pretty quick. And I don't think it had happened so much for Brent and Phil. And I was watching them get a lot of the yeses and getting accounts opened. And I think at the end of the first day, I only had 1 or 2 that came. It picked up for me on day 2, day 3, day 4. But that first day, I do remember going home just feeling pretty deflated, I would say. but the next day, I mean, it made up for it. And I never
And
looked back
Brent,
after that.
Brent, you were the opposite, because I remember you were very confident that first day.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I ain't going to get hit. I ain't going to get hit. And then I think it was the next day you got hit around lunchtime.
Oh no, it was first day. So
Was it
first
first
day,
day?
yeah, it was the second call. So second call, I thought definitely, shoe in the bag. It was game, and then they were like, "No, we're staying," like flat out no. So that's where a little humbling definitely came into play. So yeah, it was. We got the first day jitters, no for sure. I think Richard and I walked out of here at, I don't know, 11, almost midnight, going, "What did we just do? Like, was this the right thing to do?" So
It's probably one of the most nerve-wracking times of your life to leave an employee channel, go independent, because you're literally feeling like, oh my God, like what did I do? I remember that. I remember that feeling. I was probably a little bit more prepared than you guys in the concept that I knew my clients very well, and I kind of knew who was coming and who wasn't coming. But you always have that one or two that you're like, they were going to come, and then they didn't, and it's like, it just kind of make you feel like you're jumping out of an airplane at that point.
Yeah, and I think the thing that helped me a lot, Evan, to give you credit, I think you set really healthy expectations of what to expect. You were very open. Hey, the people you think are going to say yes, they're not going to jump right away. You're going to have the people that don't call you back for one reason or another right away. You're going to have people sit on documentation longer than you expect. And so I think where I probably would have felt worse, the healthy expectations really kind of put it into perspective. And by the second week, I mean, there wasn't a shred of doubt that we'd made the right decision.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it takes time for that. So it's only been 3 months. It's going to be interesting. We'll probably interview a year from now just to kind of see where you are versus where you are not. What are the biggest pros from making the move? Like, name 3 or 4 or 5 different pros of making the move that you've already experienced, that you're like, oh my God, this is such a game changer from where I was at. And then give me 4 or 5, or if there is 4 or 5, but give me some cons. What did you think was going to happen that didn't happen?
Well, I guess one of the biggest pros was the technology that we have. I mean, we're just like Evan, we do the structure notes, right? And it would take me half a day, to kind of get those all entered, notes and everything else that was needed. Now, I mean, less than an hour, I got, almost double the amount of notes entered, trades placed. And I mean, that's been a huge help, so we can go about our day. I think just technology is the biggest piece of it. Is just, it's great to have everything integrated all into one, versus having multiple systems. Another pro I'd say is the willingness to help here at Raymond James. Like, I've had multiple times where I'd call and say, hey, I need help with whatever. And I've literally gotten told, I know where my paycheck comes from. I'll take care of it. I'll send you an email with a follow-up, and don't worry about it. Where before it was on our lap to figure it out. So those are 2 huge things.
Yeah. And I think, we've been able to, granted we're using, I said it was your brand and you said, no, it's our brand, but being able to, have some ownership, it's a name that has basically become yours, is awesome. Able to market off of that, the flexibility, we're getting into the content creation, which we would never have been able to do before.
Yeah.
So it's just exciting about the ways that we wanted to do things, the way we wanted to communicate with clients. And I feel like instead of being reactive now, it's more proactive. And yeah, we're just having fun. That's the biggest thing, is we're coming back to work every single day, just having fun versus what is it that I'm going to be dealing with today. And to me, that's the best thing. Cons, it's just everyone goes through it. You're learning new systems. You knew processes and procedures before, and now those have changed. But Raymond James has been phenomenal, helping integrate us, getting us set up, the support your team has provided us, the support Raymond James provided us. Still some growing pains there, but I don't think it was as bad as I thought, but it's just a little bit of growing pain.
Some of that's on me. And part of that is that when I moved, we were really on our own, and so when we moved, like, we didn't have somebody to call to say, hey, do I really need to do it this way or that way, and so on and so forth. So I think for me, it took 90 days to 120 days for me to finally start being creative and start, doing what you guys you started to do, 40 days ago, where you're like, hey, Evan, we're here, assets are here, money's managed. What should we do? And so I think joining an OSJ that's giving you the support, giving you the same payout that you'd get on your own, developing a team around what you already have and just enhancing that is going to make things better. And Brent, I couldn't agree with you more. I remember like when I was at LPL or when I was at SunTrust after, you would call the back office and it was, why are you bothering me?
Yeah.
And what do you do? Why are you calling me? Versus at Raymond James, it's like, did I really help you? Like, I want to make sure I helped you.
Yeah.
And I think that feeling was a tremendous experience. The technology is obviously easy. You do have to learn it and get used to it. But the fact that all the systems talk to each other,
right,
so everything is in real time, is pretty immaculate. And sometimes you don't know what you don't have until you get to the new place, and can kind of see it. But I would give you guys credit in the concept that literally within 30 days, where it took me 90 days to start wanting to branch out and do some of that creative stuff, you guys are already doing it, already released your first vlog last week. You already looked at your vlog and go, yeah, there's a couple things we could tweak here and there. And I think conceptually, I look at the vlogs I was doing 6 months ago and I cringe, right? And I've been doing it for 3 years. So it's, you're always going to get better and you're always going to take, more time. Let's talk a little bit about recruitment. This was something, when you're an employee of a wirehouse or a bank, you can recruit, but you're not really recruiting, right? Like here, you're actually recruiting. You've already done. I know Richard has a couple in the hopper. Brent, I think you have one that's a little bit further down the line, which we just found out about, which sounds really cool and interesting. Talk a little bit about like your expectations going forward on the recruitment side.
Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, you're the one that's been hitting this hot and heavy. For me, it's just, when you find something and you're loving work again, and we have friends, and we see what they're going through, whether it's at our prior firm or other firms, we all talk and we know what's going on. And it's just when you experience another side of things, it's exciting, right? Whether they join our OSJ or they go out, you want what's best for them because from us, it was always client centric. And that was the biggest piece. When we went to Raymond James, it was all, this is what we can do for your clients. And those are the types of friends that we have in the industry, that they really view their clients as family. So you want more clients to experience that. And so being able to just talk about that with them, and really we just want what's best for them and for their clients. And I feel like it's an easy presentation.
Yeah, and I think we try to hold ourselves out from the industry, right? Our industry has such a stereotype, right? And Richard and I try to be a part of that, right? We don't want to be part of the stereotype. And if we can share that with other people that have that same mindset, that's why it's so exciting and easy to talk about, to say, hey, look at what I can do. This is what you can do, and help them out.
Yeah, I agree. I think karma, karma and doing what's right for your clients. We can also add that to faith. But I do believe, like, even when it comes to advisors, telling them the way it is, telling them yes when you can do something, telling them no when you can't do something, and why you can or can't. I think the biggest thing that I've learned at this firm and being independent for 8 years now, if there is a no, I actually find out what the reason for the no is. Where in the past, the answer no, you just had to accept. The answer is just no, and you go, well, why? Well, there's things behind the scenes we don't know, and da-da-da-da. So, well, here, if it's a no, you kind of know why. And I think that's, I think it's great. I'm really looking forward to you guys as you expand the Melbourne office and grow. And again, we can create other offices in other cities, for advisors that do want to go independent and see, the opportunity. For an advisor sitting in the bank right now, that one advisor, and we'll forget that one guy, Richard, that we know, no matter what we say to him, he's never going to come, right? We know who that guy is. But let's just say they're a person that doesn't want to deal with the bank anymore, just really wants to go. What would be some advice you would give those advisors today?
I think the biggest thing that surprised me as part of the transition was how many people thanked me after we left. I was really worried about that. I mean, the clients, I literally, even the person I just met an hour ago told me, I'm so glad that you left and you're part of a brokerage firm. And, you're now somewhere where it's not necessarily a division or a department, right? It's the main thing, and the tools and capabilities are built around that experience. So for anyone that's sitting in the bank, I mean, there's just opportunity out there, whether it's with Raymond James or another firm. I mean, your clients, I think, know that you have their best intentions at heart, and they trust you. I mean, when they give you their life savings, there is a large degree of trust. So, if confidence is the issue, I think you can be more confident that they're going to trust your judgment, trust that you've done the due diligence, especially because I walked a lot of people through what was our due diligence, where did we look at, why did we choose Raymond James? You just don't need to stress the day to day. There's better opportunity out there.
Excellent, guys. For advisors that might want to reach you that say, hey, I'm in the bank channel. You guys are very similar to me in my situation, and I want to pick your brain a little bit. What's a good way to reach both of you?
Reach us both by email. Our emails are really easy. It's richard@fortunawealth.com and brent@fortunawealth.com. I love development. I love coaching. Love talking through things. Working with Brent has probably been one of the highlights of my career, watching him start. Anyone else that wants to just talk, I'm always open to it.
Yeah.
Well, as I've said, I to see what you guys have done, to Richard, I remember sitting with you in my office in Boca for 4 or 5 hours and kind of going through the entire process to what you developed, and then Brent joining the team, and then Brent I first met obviously here in Boca, and I was like, this guy's sharp. This guy's good too. Just developing what you guys have developed has been absolutely amazing, and to see that you've brought close to 95% of your book over and already expanded past, I think, your assets under management is a tremendous sign of just good advisors and doing the right thing for your clients. So appreciate you both. For those advisors out there, hopefully you subscribe, enjoy the show, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us, Evan.
See ya.
Yeah, FABA for advisors by advisors. Hosted by Evan J. Mayer, where the real ones talk business, no filters, no favors. How they structure, they practice, how they build their team. Independent route or employee machine. Talk platforms, payouts, culture and growth. What really works when you out there on the road? No canned lines, just advisors being straight. Real conversations from the people who relate. Double podcast for advisors by advisors.